Hey everybody, this is the Happy Healthy Guys. Today we are talking about energy. I've
Hey,
got
hey,
Dr.
hey,
Randy
what's
here.
happening? What's happening, Dr.
What's
Rob?
what's going on? So what were we talking about earlier today? You were ranting about some stuff that you were a little irritated about. And there may be some people that are listening today before we start talking about energy that may be irritated about these same things. What was it that you were talking to me about?
Yeah, no, it wasn't. I guess I probably sounded irritated when I was talking to you about it. It was just really more of it felt unnecessary, and it felt like this could have been prevented, or it just felt like, wow, how did we end up here? So, a lot of times we'll see different feeds on Facebook, and I saw a feed of it was a former patient of mine, and his wife had passed away, really from the treatment of cancer over a several year period. I remember how he would always come in and had made so many health changes, had come off medication, had adopted a lot of the principles of health that we'd been teaching, and his wife was just super, super resistant to wanting to make any changes. And the sad part about that is ultimately he ended up not continuing care, principles of health that we've been teaching, to help take care of his wife, and then seeing her pass away with things like cancer or heart disease or diabetes, any of those chronic illnesses that we see people go through. A lot of times those things really are preventable if the right measures are taken. And I guess the frustration on my end was like, how did we not get that message across more clearly? What could have happened if we could have connected her? This was several years ago, and not to say that she wouldn't have developed cancer, but who knows when you start taking action steps to be proactive with your health versus being reactive. And every time I see the reactive message across Facebook, it's like, wow, what could we have done maybe to make that change? Does that make sense? And if you're listening, you know what I'm talking about, because every time we turn around, somebody's being diagnosed with this, that, or the other. And wow, how do we start getting in and preventing these type conditions? Because I heard someone say recently that, when you have your health, you have many wishes, but when you lose your health, you have one wish. And that one wish is to have your health back, because it's the greatest thing ever. And that's kind of why we're doing this, Dr. Rob. Let's really start getting this message of health out there to more people and make it more doable, right?
Absolutely, without a doubt, because if our foundational premise and our belief is that God's created our body and well, then that would mean that our bodies can be able to heal, right? And if our bodies can be able to heal, why in the world would we be looking for a pill bottle, a potion or a lotion to somehow do that healing for us? If it's already inside of us, why would we be looking there? But that right there is where all roads lead, is to what's going to be the next treatment, the next therapy, in order to be able to band-aid something. All the while they're putting toxins in your body to get rid of. Like, so you're chasing bad after bad. It doesn't make any sense.
It never made sense to do that, right? If you gave toxins to a healthy person, it makes them sick. What would happen if you give toxins to a sick person? How could that make them healthy? If drugs and surgery made us all healthy, then the healthiest people in the world would take all the drugs and have all the surgery. There's got to be a better way besides waiting to get sick or just focusing on the symptoms. There is a better way. I mean, I did a talk last night. I think I was telling you about that. We had a big group at the office, and we're going through these strategies. And it really, we're not against medicine or doctors. That's for emergencies. But really, you're your own doctor. And the body really does not need help healing anything. If it can heal a cut or a broken bone, what else can it not heal? It just doesn't need any interference to that process. Like we've talked about before, create that environment where good things are more likely to happen, right? From my good friend, Dr. Matthew.
Absolutely. So, yeah, exactly. Michael, what's going on, Michael? It's good to see you, man. Jennifer, glad you're here with us today. So let's get into talking about energy.
Creating an environment where great things are more likely to happen.
Let's talk about that. Boom, right there. I'm surprised you're not sitting there with the beer, but that's a whole different story.
That's a whole different story.
Absolutely. Well, we're going to talk about that one of these episodes. Beer,
though,
but
you would love kombucha, right? Because we know fermentation
absolutely
increases enzyme content, nutritional value, adds probiotic. So the kombucha has a residual amount of alcohol, I believe, left, but you're getting all the benefits. So it's a raw food. Enzymes, probiotics, trace minerals, amino acids. So it's a great way to provide raw, energetic nutrition to the body. Don't want to jump ahead. I know we're going to get into that. But anyway, if you're not trying kombucha, excuse me, gives me the burps too, to be honest with you. A little carbonation there, naturally carbonated, right? A lot better than drinking a Dr. Pepper.
Absolutely. So let's get into this. So let's talk about energy. The number one thing, if we're really going to have energy, and the first thing that we got to do is we got to change our attitude, right? So your attitude is everything. If you have this belief in the fact that you're tired all the time, and you continue to keep on telling yourself, hey, I'm tired. One of the things that you say to yourself all the time, a lot of times we say, I'm busy. Interpreted that, just hearing somebody say I'm busy already makes me exhausted. So what do you think it's doing to you when you say that? So it's like, it's saying things like, I feel, absolutely, it's the power of your words. So it's like, I feel amazing. Today's going to be an amazing day. You know what? I can't wait to be able to use my gifts and talents to enrich the lives of others today. It's going to be awesome. And we start our day off like that, it means everything, and even ending our day like that as well. So we want to make sure that we're giving 100%, and it starts with the words that are coming out of our mouth, which really ultimately starts with our belief in here. So that's one of the keys to being happy. It's one of the keys to being healthy, one of the keys to making sure that you've got plenty of energy. So let's talk about energy. Give us some things that people can start doing right now in order to be able to make sure that they've got more energy.
Yeah, so before I go there, I just want to echo the sentiments you just said. What starts here, it definitely manifests in our life. So the whole goal to being happy and healthy is, number one, you got to believe that you deserve to be happy and healthy, and you do, and you got to see yourself doing that. So I know if you don't have good energy out there, sometimes it's hard to be happy, and it's a real sign that you're not healthy. So a couple of things that I've done over the years that have made a huge difference with my energy is I had a false belief before, Dr. Rob, that I had to constantly eat all day long to keep my energy up. And what I was doing was literally just giving my body lots of food, lots of insulin, lots of sugar, always snacking. And ultimately what we found out and what the research supports is that's a flawed strategy, because if you're constantly eating all day, guess what your body's having to do all day long? Try to digest and process food. And that's only assuming that you're eating real food and not fake food, processed foods, or things that can put more of a burden on the body that requires more energy. So I talked about this last week a little bit, and we'll kind of bake this in every week, a little bit about how to get your body into fat burning versus sugar burning. But now, I only eat once or twice a day in a very small window. And now my metabolism has shifted over to burning fat versus sugar. And when you do that, inflammation drops, energy goes up, mental clarity kicks in, and it's allowed me to have a lot more energy now than I ever used to have in my 20s, and I'll be course 43 here in a few days. So I think that's a huge thing to think about. And then the second thing, what are you laughing about? You're older than me, buddy.
I'm laughing because you said, well, here's what I'm laughing about. True story.
Let the world
not to interrupt
know.
you.
It's so funny right now.
Yeah, not to interrupt you, but to interrupt you. Thank you.
Yeah.
And by the way, we also have a question that we're going to answer too here from Backup. Thanks for your question.
Okay.
But so last Wednesday, we go date night every Wednesday. I know you and Katie do your date night, so we're at date night. And Beverly and I are having this conversation. We've got an intern at the office. He's 43 years old. He looks amazing. He looks like he's about 20, right? Lewis, if you're watching, shout out to you. And we're having this conversation. And I'm like, yeah, I can't believe he's 43. He looks that great. You know what? At 47 years old right now, you know what? I wish that I looked, at least that good at 47 years old. And Beverly goes, "You're not 47." I go, "Yeah, I am. I'm 47." She goes, "No, you're not." I'm like, "Oh yeah, I've been planning on, turning 48 like all year, right?" And she goes, "No, you're 2 years older than me." And like, I didn't believe her. So I had to get out the calculator, calculate it, only to find out that, yeah, I truly am. I'm 45. So that date night got me younger. So I actually gained 2 years. It's like finding $20 in your pocket. It was awesome. So it's all mindset, right?
Yeah, no.
So it's all mindset, right? So it's all about it. So now the cool thing is, ever since then, I've been thinking, I'm like, holy mackerel, I'm 2 years younger. Why haven't I been thinking that I'm 10 years younger every single morning? So I'm now 35 years old. So if anybody ever asks you how old your best friend is, I'm 35.
Well,
Just put it out there.
the metabolic testing we do in our office is, you can get your metabolic age. Of course, I'll be 43, and I am going to be 43. Unfortunately, I'm not 42 or 41, but my metabolic age is 12. And so my wife is like so happy that there was finally a test to validate her suspicions that I completely act like a 12-year-old sometimes. So it's been huge for our relationship to know that I am officially
absolutely
right.
Well, so no longer the expectation of you having to grow up. I love it.
Yeah, no, that's
So,
off the table.
All right. So back to what you were saying as far as your feeding windows and in the way the amount of times that you're eating. Going back to that.
Yeah, so obviously minimizing the amount of time that you're eating. You're really not eating less food. You're just eating less often throughout the day. You're really getting into a 8, 6, 4-hour feeding window. I was telling you earlier. A lot of times for me now, because I'm completely burning fat for energy, a lot of times I don't even get hungry till sometimes 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the day. So I'll listen to my body, I'll eat real foods, and then I'll have another meal 3, 4, 5 hours later. So I'm really done eating in that 4 to 5, 6-hour window. And that way I'm burning fat, I'm minimizing the insulin load on my body. And the second piece to kind of the energy thing was, now, what are you putting into your body? Because remember, if you're eating all day long, you're losing a lot of energy focused on digestion. But if you're eating toxic foods or fake foods or packaged foods, foods that, have so many colorings and deodorants and bleaching agents and preservatives and trans fats and artificial colors, artificial sweeteners, I could go on and on. If you eat green beans, the only thing in them should be what? Green beans. A lot of times you'll pick up a can of green beans and it's got 87 things you can't pronounce. So when I say eating real foods, I think that makes a huge difference with your energy, because when you put real food that hasn't been altered into your body really knows what to do with that. So it can use it very efficiently. It can take what it needs, discard the rest. So you don't put a burden on your body and tax its energy stores. So a lot of the things that I've eliminated, I have found for me and for many people can drain your energy. So things like, for me, I've really eliminated a lot of refined and really even grain out of my body. So oatmeal, rice, wheat, which contain gluten, breads, pastas, cereals, all those things that can really, and corn, which can really turn to sugar pretty quickly and can drain a lot of energy and kick out a lot of insulin. So I've really replaced more the high glycemic carbs or the grain-based carbs with more fruits and vegetables, which have more nutrition, more fiber, and less of an impact to the blood sugar. So eating, if you buy an apple and don't eat it in about 7 to 10 days, it's going to go bad. If food doesn't go bad in a couple of weeks, it's just not food. So focusing on, vegetables and fruits. I've eliminated most dairy. Dairy can be a huge burden on the body because of the way it's raised here in America with all the hormones, the antibiotics. Guys, there's literally residual pus, which is disgusting, in our milk and our cheese products because of the way we're farming dairy. So I've really eliminated any conventional dairy. I do some sheep and goat cheese, which is more humanely raised, which is really what you would get over in Europe. You don't get this kind of hormone-based stuff there. I have eliminated any processed sugar completely from my diet, which has been huge. So the grain's been gone, eliminating the dairy. A lot of the starchy carbohydrates I've reduced dramatically, more fibrous veggies, focusing on good, clean proteins, right? So the grass-fed, not the conventional raised, the free-range, things that have not been loaded with chemicals and drugs. So proteins, fruits, and vegetables, and then focusing on good fats, because good fats create incredible amounts of energy. So avocados, one of my favorite. In fact, an avocado has about 60% more potassium than a banana without all the sugar. And then you get all the healthy fats, the vitamin E. I use coconut oil to cook in. Coconut oil, which I know you're going to talk about in a second with the way you do your coffee, the metabolic coffee, is a medium chain triglyceride. So it goes right into your liver through the portal vein doesn't require hardly any enzyme activity. It gives you instant energy and fat burning potential. Unrefined olive oil, I don't cook with that. You can put it over your food after you've cooked with it. Those are some of my favorites. Dr. Rob, I know you've fought some pretty serious food addictions like a lot of us have. Maybe what are some of the energy you consume? Because I'm telling you, when you eliminate the energy draining foods, add in the energy, the foods that support energy that your body can use, and begin to tighten up those feeding windows, man, energy goes through the roof. Seriously, real talk. It's crazy.
Absolutely, yeah, because I'm a sugaraholic. So, Beverly always says that, Rob doesn't have a sweet tooth. He has sweet teeth. It's like all my teeth want and crave sweets. And so I had to break that sugar addiction. The way I did it was through what we're talking about was getting those good fats into my body. And I no longer have those cravings. So I can walk into a restaurant now. If you're somebody who's ever struggled with that, like they put the bread down on the table in front of you, it smells so flipping good, right? Yeah, exactly. I'm like, you just get it away. But, so I would then just taste it. And the next thing you know, the whole entire loaf is gone. Now, the great thing by changing this and getting those good fats into my body for fuel, kind of like Becca was just asking a question, well, what kind of supplements can we use for that? This right here really is my supplement, and that's getting good, healthy fats in there. And so one of the things that I do love is I love coffee, right? So here's how I was able to curb this addiction. Number one is making sure that you get a coffee that doesn't have mycotoxins, that doesn't have any toxins, any kind of mold on it. So you want to make sure there's good, healthy sourced coffee, number one. Number two is so that we don't get those toxins, I'm going to make sure that I actually grind it myself at home. So I'm grinding it, and/or you're going to tease me. I know you're going to say it because my favorite coffee place is Buongiorno. Most of the time I'm having coffee there, but I grind it at home so I can be able to keep the good, healthy oils intact in the bean as well. And so after I do that, then I'm going to French press it. So I got my French press sitting right here. So I French press it, and what that does is that also helps to be able to keep those good, healthy oils inside the coffee intact as well. And then what I do is I'll get some Kerrygold grass-fed butter, get a tablespoon of that, dump it into a blender, put my coffee into that blender with it. And then I'm going to get some MCT oils, a tablespoon of that, and I've got that right here. A lot of people ask the question, what's the difference between coconut oil and MCT? And the difference is that with coconut oil, about 62 to 65% of coconut oil is MCT, whereas MCT oil is going to be straight MCT oil, so the chains are shorter, and because the chains are shorter, and triglyceride instead of long chain, your body can digest it a lot easier. But the great thing about the MCT oil is it can kill off microbes, bacteria, and all those things that really hound your gut. Now, if you're somebody who is lactose intolerant and you can't do dairy, a great alternative to that is doing ghee. So with ghee, you're doing is yeah, I know it's your favorite. That's why I brought it up. And so with the ghee, you're actually taking the casein and the lactose out of it. And so your body can be able to digest it. It's a lot easier to digest, but that also can give you a huge surge of energy. So you get the ghee, the MCT, the grass-fed butter, or just the ghee and the MCT oil, dump that into your coffee, and rather than you getting that huge spike up from the caffeine, you're going to be able to get energy levels that are rising, and you're going to sustain that energy for longer periods of time, because the energy is coming from fat, not sugar. Because if we were going to burn sugar burns boom fast like that, versus fat that burns over a longer period of time. So that's why I love we call our metabolic coffee. Love the metabolic coffee. So if you want to talk, I'm going to make some right now. So as I'm making that, Dr. Randy, if you'll talk a little bit too, why that's so good and why that can be able to help curb appetite, but also get you into fat burning, as well as not be so addicted to the sugars and the breads.
Yeah, no, you did a great job there. But a lot of times people say, well, I love coffee, but they really don't love coffee. They love sugar, because what you're putting in your coffee is packets of sugar or artificial sweeteners or these fake creamers that you're putting in there, or you're pulling into Starbucks or whatever local coffee shop and you're getting a latte. You're putting in the conventionally raised milk with the hormones. And you're really not drinking good coffee. You're really just more feeding that addiction of sugar and toxic food. So real coffee that's fair trade, that is free of toxins, that's been roasted the proper way to protect the oils and keep them intact. That coffee tastes great on its own. You have to doctor up your coffee because you can't stomach the taste. It's a good sign you're not drinking good coffee. That's why you want to avoid instant coffee. Most instant coffee is going to be full of toxins and chemicals and pesticides. And plus, once it's been ground, now the bean will begin to oxidize. So it's basically you're creating more of a free radical load on your body because the oils become rancid. So you want to, like Dr. Rob said, you want to get a great quality bean. We've got a great source, and we'll talk more about that, called our metabolic coffee. And we grind it fresh. It's roasted properly. And then adding in the oils, like Dr. Rob said, you get that sustained energy. Another key thing is if you're starting to practice the smaller meal or the smaller feeding windows, and maybe moving your first time you eat to later in the day to take advantage of that fasted window to burn more fat, you don't want to break your fast with sugar, because now you're priming your body to go right back to burning sugar, and we want to keep it in fat burning. So one of the most perfect ways to break your fast for the day is to have coffee with the MCT, the ghee butter, the grass-fed butter. That's the beautiful way to do it. And plus it tastes amazing, especially if you blend it, because you get that really thick. Can you show everybody? Did you blend it? That thick crema on the top of it.
Yeah, let me see
Anyway,
let me see if I can show it here.
Cosmetically appealing, the smell, the taste, and it will keep you full 4 to 5 hours. Okay, I can kind of see it. Yeah, it'll keep you full 4 to 5 hours. So you're not going to maybe even eat your first meal till now, even later in the day, if for whatever reason you wanted to get a quick hit that morning of a great coffee, a great oil, and continue to prime your body to burn fat. So how's it taste, buddy? I'm getting jealous. I'm drinking kombucha.
Phenomenal.
You're drinking butter coffee.
It's phenomenal. And so, yeah, so that's why it's so important just to be able to know where you get your coffee from. We get ours from my favorite place. I know the owners. I know they're on it when it comes to health. David and Elena Clark, they own a place called Bongiorno if you're ever in the Grapevine area. Little plug for them because they're so on it when it comes to health. Are you going to bring David
on, Dr. Rob? Are you going to bring him on at some time? Yeah, let's interview him. I think he could. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
Absolutely. So there you go. So that's our energy hacks for you guys, and they're really not hacks. More than that's just what our body needs to be able to have that energy. So what we talked about is just, what's your belief whenever you wake up in the morning. What are you telling yourself? Are you telling yourself I'm tired? Or are you telling yourself I feel amazing? It's going to be an amazing day. I've got plenty of energy, right? And so then we talked about the good fats for your body as well. So before we start looking at supplementation, we always want to do like our buddy Dr. Emmett talks about, is simply eating real food. So we want to surf for our food. We always want to go back to what real food is before we start supplementing with things. And so that's why those good healthy fats are so good. So that right there that's our energy information for today. Anything else to add to that, Dr. Randy, before we sign off here?
No, this was a blast. I hope this helped. Yeah, the supplements are supplements for a reason. You supplement a changed and inspired life. And the things we've talked about today can make a lot bigger difference than any supplement you could ever take. So leave the supplements for after we get the body doing the right thing, creating that healthy environment. So I'm not sure we're going to be talking about next week, but remember, every week at noon Central Time, we're right back here on Facebook. Like it, share it, tell your friends. This has been fun, man. So I guess let's get out of here.
Absolutely. We'll do it. If you guys have any questions, private message us. Let us know what those questions are. We'll make sure that we'll start answering these questions every single week. So thank you guys all for being on. Hey, babe, glad you're on. So I told a story about you, so you're going to have to go back and watch. So you guys have a great day. We love you guys, and we'll see you next week.
Happy Healthy Wednesday. God bless.